It is Friday the 31st of January 2020. Okay, so yesterday Cole made it absolutely clear that she didn't want anything to do with her babies, so last night we took them back home, kept them in overnight so that they could be fed, but we can't leave them there permanently because first of all they'll stink the house out and we don't want that, and secondly they need to be over here with the other goats so they can build up their resistance to illness and infection and so on. So we brought them back this morning and put them in the goat house, and they're very pleasantly settled at the moment. So there they are, both nicely settled and asleep. Now the one on the right is the girl and on the left is the boy, and the girl is bigger, noticeably bigger than the boy, and we've decided to call them Sooty and Sweep. It was a suggestion somebody sent to us. So Sooty is the boy and Sweep is the girl, and I think Grandad has just walked in. Here he is. Let's find out what's happening. The other goats have been quite settled with them. They always are when new kids are born. They just accept that they're there and don't give them any hassle. There's snow here. You can see his horn was, we had to cut it off last year because it was starting to, it curled around and started to grow into his skin. And the other horn on this side there is starting to do the same, so we're going to have to get the saw out and do the same with that, take that off. This one we'll probably do at the same time. Here's Mum. She's taking no interest at all in her children. She is interested in the food trough. Our chickens stopped laying in October, and for the following 2.5 months no eggs at all, and then on New Year's Day we had an egg, a whole egg, and since then other hens have started laying. So yesterday we got to our record for the month of 9 eggs in the one day. Now it's significantly less than we would get at the peak in the spring, around about April-May time. We get the chickens will be in their peak. But the chicks that we bought last year, when we bought I think it was 22 5-day-old chicks, those hens are just coming to the point where they are starting to lay. So we're expecting over the next week or so for more of them to start popping out the eggs. So we're at the point now where it makes economic sense for us to start taking the eggs up to the farm shop where we sell them. And in the next, probably next week, if we've built up sufficient eggs over the next few days, we'll be doing that trip up to the shop. It's quite a breezy day today, and up here at Marley Hill, which I've just arrived at now, is whenever there's a breeze blowing down the road, then up here there's often a gale because it's much higher exposed land. But the reason I'm here is I come here every 2 or 3 days to cut back hedges, privet hedges, because at this time of year it's just about the only greenery around, that and ivy, that I can feed to the goats. Now I was hoping that the bowling club here would just leave their hedge and let me come along and cut it, but since that was only something that we'd had a brief discussion about last year, then they've gone ahead and cut the hedge. Sadly, I could have done it for them, but they've left some of the hedge trimmings, so I'm going to come in with the dumpy bags, fill them up, and that'll be feed for the goats for the next couple of days. So, on the other side of the hedge and the fence there is the bowling green. And on this side, actually there's still a reasonable amount that's left to be cut, so I'll have a go at trimming that. But I'll check out what's lying on the ground as well, because it strikes me that a lot of the privet trimmings are looking a bit past it. Well, I've been chopping away at the overhang, so we're not losing any height to the hedge, but the overhang, you can see what I mean by that when I just swing the camera around here. And there's a lot of that overhang still to come off, so that's going to take a few weeks, I would guess. It could take me to the end of February to get through this lot, which is excellent news. That basically means that we've found a food source for the goats that'll get us another month through the winter, up until the start of March, and hopefully by then we might actually have the grass growing down on the small holding, and it'll be sufficient for us to put the goats on it. Right, well, we've got 2 dumpy bagfuls in the Land Rover now. So, lunchtime for the goats. Back in the Land Rover, and we're about to go off to a house near to our small holding because they have an old fence that they are having removed, and it's actually been removed by a friend of ours who runs a gardening business. So we were asked if we wanted the fence, and we said yes, no need to see it go to waste. Well, this is going to be a much bigger job than we thought, because although we've got these dismantled panel sections now in the Land Rover, the rest of it is big panels. So we've got a whole pile of these, and Steve's is tying one down on the top, but we haven't really got a vehicle big enough to deal with this properly. The daft thing is that just over there, before that tree line in the distance, that's where they're going, because that is our small holding. But so near and yet so far, because they're going to be too heavy to carry over. So they've got to go in the Land Rover, and we've got to go around 3 sides of a square to get there. We've now solved the problem of how to get the panels into the Land Rover. We have broken them up into their constituent parts, which is what we would have done anyway. And as you can see, the inside of the Land Rover is full, as is the roof. The good thing about this is that for us this is another recycling job, so all of that wood panelling would have been disposed of, would have been wasted basically if we didn't step in to save it, and it's actually really good quality, but it'll make some excellent pig arks and goat sheds.